welcome to Lights on LA. I'm your host, Louise Gill. Today I'm very fortunate, honored, and privileged to be at the headquarters of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and to be able to interview our wonderful, newly elected, one-year anniversary, happy anniversary,
Thank
Sheriff
you.
McDonnell.
Thanks, Louise.
It is always a pleasure, and for all the 35 years of your hard work and dedication to Los Angeles County, including Long Beach, LAPD, it's remarkable, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And to the new building,
Yeah,
the
it's
Hall of
beautiful.
Justice.
Beautiful, yeah.
As we are here today, we want to talk a little bit about everything that's going on currently, unfortunately. And if there is anything that you could tell us a little bit about in regards to the terrorist attacks in France first.
I mean, tragic, I think, really a wake-up call to all of us that when you think about the strategies that we've been employing around the world, really focusing on critical infrastructure sites, and what we saw here were soft targets, were places where people come together in groups. Relatively difficult to anticipate where that could happen. It happens everywhere, as well as difficult to protect. And that's really where it comes down to our request to the public to be engaged, to be aware of your surroundings, have situational awareness. But also we talk about if you see something, say something. And that really drives it home that we're all partners in public safety. And the role of the police is to take an action based on information we get from the public most times. That information has to be coming into us and in a timely manner to be able to effectively protect the public. So when somebody sees something that looks out of place, a bag unattended, somebody in your neighborhood that you know it does not live there, and they're looking at houses, looking at mailboxes, looking in cars, oftentimes I hear from people that, we had a burglary and I saw someone in the neighborhood and I didn't want to bother you, so I didn't say anything. Never bothering us, never a bother. That's what we're there for. We want to be able to come out, and if the person's not doing anything inappropriate, we get the chance to stop and talk to somebody and see how they're doing. And if they are doing something inappropriate, to be able to take action and hopefully prevent somebody from being the victim of a property crime or a violent crime.
Now, unfortunately, yesterday, being closer to home, San Bernardino shooting, the mass shooting. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Do we have any notification that it could be ISIS or any Islamic or anything to do with Al-Qaeda?
Yeah, the FBI, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, the San Bernardino Police Department are working very, very hard on that. It's premature, I think, to make any kind of determination as to exactly what the motivation was. They're working on that. But what we saw yesterday was another soft target, and a center for disability that had been rented out for a Christmas party by a group of county employees. You could anticipate that that's a group of people that are paying attention to the issue that they're there for. Some people barge into it and open fire in a way that you've got people who are unfortunately unable to be able to defend themselves in that kind of an environment, and then to leave the pursuit, just absolutely tragic all around. And I think it drives home to all of us our vulnerability and the importance of us all working together to be able to make our communities as safe as we can. And that really comes down, as we mentioned before, to communication.
Are you aware of any attacks towards the County of Los Angeles pertaining to these type of acts? Are we aware of anything else occurring, or?
Yeah, there are no credible threats that we are aware of for the County of Los Angeles, and we stay in very close contact with our federal, state, and other local partners. We have members of our organization on the Joint Terrorism Task Force staffing the Joint Regional Intelligence Center. We have a network across the country and around the world that we tap into on a regular basis. So I feel very good that if there's information that we should know, that we're doing everything we can to try and become aware of that, and then proactively address any issues before they become a tragedy. And I look at Los Angeles County, and when you think about it, we have people here literally from everywhere in the world. It makes Los Angeles a beautiful place to live. But from a policing standpoint, it makes it a complex environment to be able to police. And you think about when anything happens anywhere else in the world, there's a direct nexus to Los Angeles. All the more critical that we have ongoing positive relationships with all of our diverse communities throughout the county, so that if information is available that we could tap into to prevent an incident, we'll do that. and if not, to be able then quickly to mitigate an incident and limit the loss of life or injury to anybody.
Was LA County Sheriff's Department activated in any way of yesterday's incident? The
Yeah,
San Bernardino?
we as soon as we became aware of it, I phoned the sheriff of San Bernardino County, John McMahon, and offered our help in any way possible. We had resources ready, special weapons team resources ready to via helicopter to be deployed to a special mission if they have one for us. They didn't the way this incident evolved, and so I think it's a comfort level to all of our partners, our agencies around the county and other counties as well, adjoining counties in particular, to know that there are resources readily available to be deployed to be able to help others, and likewise we enjoy and respect the opportunity to be able to tap into the mutual aid system for additional resources should the need arise here in Los Angeles County. It's a great partnership.
That is wonderful and remarkable. What kind of training or resources does the Sheriff's Department have to deal with terror attacks or active shooters? Do you have any training or resources for them?
We do. In fact, I'll give you a link that you can give to your audience to be able to look. We put together a video that deals with what to do if you become involved in a situation involving an active shooter. And it's really run, hide, and fight, if you have to, in that order. But it lays it out in a way that is, some would say it's a little shocking, the video, but it's one where I think it gets people's attention, and it drives home the fact that these scenes are very chaotic, very loud, potentially very violent, and you need to be ready for that in your own mindset should one of these occur, and that you don't, as we see too often is the case, just freeze and be unable to do any of the three, then run, hide, or fight. So I would ask anybody who feels like they're comfortable watching that to do so. But then also the resources we have. The reality is when something happens and somebody calls 911, they're going to get patrol units.
Right.
They're the people on the front lines that are going to get there first, and then they'll be supported by specialized units subsequent to that. We do train our people. We have a lot of active shooter training and awareness gone on, since Columbine, which really changed the way we deal with active shooter incidents, where we no longer wait on the perimeter for specialized assets to get there, but rather go in an organized way that we train to be able to neutralize the threat, and then get ambulances en route and medics to be able then to extract people from that environment and get them the help that they need. So there's a lot going on, and again, the intelligence piece as an overlay, we're very proud of the relationships in particular we have with other agencies and the information that we share on a routine basis.
Now, what could we as civilians do to help the police department, the sheriff's department particularly?
It's
in regards to everything, whether it's a burglary,
yeah.
whether it's a crime that's being in process. I mean,
Yeah.
how do we as civilians help you? Because
Yeah.
obviously you don't have the manpower
Yeah.
to be able to facilitate and the safety of
Yeah.
all members of the Los Angeles County. So
It's really be our eyes and ears. Nobody knows a community better than the people who live in that community. We patrol it. We try and get to know the people, get to know the area, but nobody knows it as well as those who live there. Feel free to call us. Reach out. When you're not comfortable with something, there's probably a reason for that. Let us know. We'll come out and we'll check it out. When you look at this nation, we have about 900,000 police officers in America, serving a population of 320 million. So when you think about that and you do the math, it breaks down to 1/3 of 1% of our population is charged with protecting the remainder. There's no way we can do it alone. We need the community. We need public support, and we need the community to feel part of the public safety equation and to weigh in and to provide, clues, if you will, or to provide us with the get out to a scene and be able to check into it, and we welcome that.
now, is there a specific number that they should call for suspicious activities? We're not talking about, let's say, 911, but let's say they'll see somebody. I mean, would that still be 911 or?
Yeah, if you feel
number?
like that there's a crime about to be committed, that somebody's looking in a window of a home, looking in vehicle windows going down the street, then that would be an appropriate number to call. If there's information of a more generalized sense, then to call the local station. is an appropriate avenue as well.
Okay. And as far as, I know that there's a lot of people that would like to report.
Yeah.
However, they don't want to state their name, their phone number,
Yeah.
their address. Is there any way that we could be anonymous?
Absolutely. We have a tip line as well, which we can share with you for your audience. But really, calling 911, calling the local station and saying, I prefer not to identify myself, but I have information I want to share with you. To us, that may be the help we need to be able to use that information, and it may ultimately save us potentially hundreds of hours of investigation and surveillance on a complex case, and one where it points us in the right direction as to what's occurring. And I use as an example, if you have a home in the neighborhood and it's being used for sales of narcotics or guns or human trafficking, not to wait. Call us, let us know, we'll go out and check it out, and we'll take whatever action we can based on the information we have. But by sharing that information, even anonymously, it points us in the direction we need to be looking.
As far as the Sheriff's Department, how has it improved since you have taken your office?
I look back on the past year, and I'm hopeful that we were able to change some of the perceptions of the organization in a more positive way. We've tried very hard to be able to share the good stories and to be able to put a positive light on the incredible number of great things that are happening every single day by members of this organization that show the competence of the organization and as well as the compassion. And the things that are being done on behalf of all citizens of Los Angeles by members of the Sheriff's Department, I think, is a great story. And too often we don't hear it in the media. You hear about the rare exception that happens, and we're held to a very high standard, and I understand that certainly why it's reported. But we also need to provide some balance and to be able to show that there's so much good going on and that it's being done with the community. It's being done in a way that is something we're very proud of. And each time we get an opportunity to be able to showcase that, it works for us to our benefit as well as a recruiting tool, trying to be able to bring in the best and the brightest for the next generation.
That's very true. Are there any additional changes, improvements that you're working on right now towards the Sheriff's Department?
Yeah. Every day is an opportunity, and when something happens, we debrief it. We tear it apart. We're very critical of ourselves in an effort to be able to provide training, equipment, tactics, policy, procedure, to be able to help keep our people safer and the public that we serve safer. And so we want to give our folks the best tools that are available out there to do the job. So I look at everything we do as an opportunity to improve the way we do business. And so there will always be changes. We're in probably one of the most dynamic fields that we could be in. It's constantly changing. Technology is a game changer on the criminal front as well as it is for all of us for convenience and efficiency. And every time we see something positive come down from a technology standpoint, there's somebody going to exploit it for their own purposes and take advantage of someone else. So we're constantly in a state of flux, I would say, as far as our enforcement practices and trying to be able to gather intelligence on what's coming next and to be able to help as best we can protect people who may not even know they're a victim. And I use identity theft as an example of that.
Prop 47 and AB 109 were voted by our voters. And how has that affected the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and the crime rate?
Well, AB 109 changed the population of our jails. So we previously had a jail system that was designed to house people awaiting trial or sentenced up to a year in county jail. Post AB 109, we now, which is known as realignment, we now have people who are being sentenced to county jail for 20 years or more. And that facility was not designed to house people for that kind of a long-term stay. It then puts the onus on us for long-term health care issues and a lot of costly, side issues that I don't know were anticipated or weren't, but are our reality today. So very challenging for us in that stand. When you look at Prop 47 being enacted by the voters just over a year ago, I think we all share the intention of what it was designed to do, was to provide treatment rather than incarceration for low-level drug offenders and for low-level thefts. And it did that, but it did it in a way where there was no money front-loaded for the treatment part. So And it also made a misdemeanor out of possession of some pretty serious drugs: marijuana, cocaine, PCP, methamphetamine, heroin, drugs that are very serious. It made possession of any of those drugs a misdemeanor, not just once, but every time you're caught. And likewise, theft under $950, a misdemeanor every time you're caught. And a misdemeanor in LA County is basically a citation, a promise to appear. Many of these people do not appear. So they're not in custody, they're not in treatment. Treatment is down over 60%. They're on the streets and unfortunately reoffending over and over. And so we've seen 12 years of significant crime decline turn around in the past year, and an increase in both violent and property crime. And I can't attribute that certainly all to AB 109 or Prop 47, because we've also seen a rise across the nation, and those are just California issues. And so there's a number of factors weighing in, but I certainly do believe that both of those, both AB 109 and Prop 47 in particular, have had a contributory effect on the increase in the rate of crime in LA County and in the state of California.
Is there anything that we as citizens could do about that?
You know, monitor it. We want to be able to continue to capture more data to be able to make the case on exactly what is occurring. But to monitor it, hold your elected representatives accountable for making our communities as safe as they can be, and help to give us the tools necessary to be able to get the job done. And again, on 47, we all agree with the intent, and it's just trying to be able to come up with a vehicle to be able to get us an achievement that we get people into treatment, but we also have the ability to have the leverage to get them to go to treatment. And by taking away the felony count, they're not worried about going to jail or prison, and so we didn't have that lever then to get them into treatment. And I think we hurt the people we were trying to help in doing so.
How has that changed the deputies that are out on the field, knowing the fact that they're going to write the report, by the time they finish the report, that person's already out, and it's not even worth it?
Well, you know,
and they have all these serious crimes.
Yeah, well, you have to prioritize your workload, you know, and while we ask our deputies to continue to do the job, we know that the people that they're arresting, even though they get a citation, they're reoffending over and over again. They don't get a free pass on doing that. We need to hold them accountable to the degree that the law allows us to do that. It is frustrating, certainly for the deputies who are out there and see the same person over and over again committing the same types of crimes. But if we just then look the other way, then we're not doing our job, certainly, and I know our folks are not willing to do that. So it's a challenge, and we hope that as we move forward and get additional data, we'll be able to go back to the voters and come up with something that works for everyone.
Is there anything else that you would like to add to our audience?
You know, I'd like to just mention that we feel very fortunate that the Board of Supervisors gave us the budget to be able to hire recruits in the coming year. So for this fiscal year, we have the ability to put in 8 academy classes at 90 deputy sheriff's trainees each class. So I would look to all of our communities and say this is a great opportunity. Take a look at the LASD as a career opportunity. It's a tremendous job. At the end of the day, you look at what you've been able to accomplish, and you feel like you've been able to meet new people. You've been in a position where you can look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, in some way I helped somebody else out, and maybe on the worst day of their life. And so to be able to have that with good pay, good pension benefits, and all of the other benefits we enjoy, it is a great job and a great way to be able to give back.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I know that we will be watching a video pretty soon. Thank you so much, and congratulations on 1 year.
Thank you very much. I
wish you
appreciate
many,
it,
many
Louise.
more years.
Thank you. Thank you.
A morning that began like any other turned tragic today when an employee opened fire on his supervisor and fellow coworkers.
Students, parents, teachers are asking why today, after a bloody rampage plunged this campus into tragedy.
Details are just coming in, but we're being told that a heavily armed gunman opened fire this evening at the mall food court behind me. There's no official word on any casualties yet, but one eyewitness reported seeing at least 6 people shot.
Active shooter. A gunman or gunmen killing or attempting to kill people in a confined, populated area.
You gotta get some sleep. You're looking like a vampire.
You sleep. You ain't got no babies at home keeping you up.
What the hell? Ah, Sam again.
We've tried. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to let you go.
Active shooter killings are a tragic, unpredictable reality, and one that's becoming more common.
Since 2006, the U.S. has averaged an active shooter event with 4 or more deaths every 2.9 months.
Even though the number of active shooter events has been increasing, your odds of being involved in one are still very slim. But just like fire drills and earthquake preparedness, making a plan in advance can make all the difference.
Yeah, but lizards live in tanks. I mean, it's probably fine.
If you do find yourself in the middle of a senseless attack, the why doesn't matter.
Hey. Hey, buddy.
Hang on, something's happening.
What matters is surviving.
On average, 20 mass shootings take place in the U.S. every year.
Killers usually choose their victims at random. They look for easy targets. So the harder you are to see or to hit, the safer you are. When an attack starts, if you can find a way out of the location, do so.
Get out.
If you stay calm and think clearly, even in the middle of a life and death event, you improve your chances of making it out. Visualize your movements in advance.
What are we gonna do?
Look at me, look at me. I can get us out. Stay behind me. Stay down.
Use cover, something that will stop a bullet, and concealment, something that at least keeps you out of sight.
Attention South LA units, code 3 response needed regarding a 245 DSV 417. This will be at the Town Center shopping mall. Suspects wearing a face mask, possible body armor.
Use any available means to get out, including emergency exits or windows. Most restaurants and retail locations will also have exits in the back, through kitchens or stock rooms. Even in the best cases, police are minutes, not seconds away. You must take action to protect yourself.
Okay, everybody stay calm. It's probably just a drill.
No, go back, go back.
Oh my God, come here.
If you can help others without putting yourself in unnecessary danger,
It's gonna be okay.
do so.
It's gonna be okay. What's your name?
Lori.
Lori? It's gonna be okay.
If you can't move safely to an exit, get to a room or a confined area you can lock down. Then secure the location.
Secure your location.
Oh my God.
There's somebody shooting.
Everybody stay calm. Remember how we train. Everybody get in this corner, away from the windows. Get the emergency bag from my desk. Help her.
Drywall won't stop a bullet, but there are steps to take to stay safe. Lock or barricade the doors, turn off the lights, move away from any windows, and silence your cell phone.
The other door doesn't lock. Move desks or anything, just block it.
A modern emergency bag can include a first aid kit, gloves, emergency plans for the building, and casualty cards to alert first responders to any wounded victims.
Most active shooter situations are over in 10 to 15 minutes.
Attention Lakeway units, code 3 is needed, red 245 GSV 417. It's going to be at Alexandria College. Multiple victims down.
Law enforcement's first responsibility when entering an active shooter situation is to stop the suspect, not to render aid to the victims. Medical teams will enter the scene as soon as the suspect is no longer a threat or is confirmed in another location. Silence any cell phones and remain quiet. Do not alert the shooter to your presence.
Sheriff's Department, is there anyone inside?
Red card.
Just hang tight. We'll be back to get you.
Defend yourself.
If you cannot escape the location and you can't shelter in place, you may have to defend yourself as a last resort. Almost anything can be turned into an improvised weapon. Look for something that can disrupt the shooter's ability to see, breathe, or control their weapon. When law enforcement arrives, they are going to be in a heightened state of readiness and awareness, looking for any aggressive movements. So keep your hands visible and follow any commands you are given.
He's a shooter.
What happened? Oh, it's just a shooter. I just saw one shooter.
Especially in developing situations, engaging law enforcement, running toward them, reaching for them, even to thank them, could put people at risk.
Surviving an active shooter. For more information,
Thank you. Seriously.
visit activeshooter.lasd.org.
Thank you for watching Lights on LA. Have a very nice evening and good night.